Oh.
is. I haven't got Poppy with me. I think we're live.
Oh, right. Okay. Excellent.
So, hello everybody.
Hi.
This is so exciting. I'm really excited about this. Not that I mean we talk a lot anyway, don't we? But doing this, having a proper chat about our
chat, and it's really
our
nice to
work.
see you and to hear your voice again.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got a copy of my new book, which came out last Thursday. And have you got The Crew?
Yeah.
Should we talk about covers?
Yes, shall we? Yes.
Yeah. Because that feeds into Secrets and Lies, doesn't it? I mean, mine, obviously you've got your strapline and the title, but I find that on thrillers like ours, there's always got to be some hint, hasn't there? Because our covers are very similar, aren't they? Because they're very summary.
Yeah.
There's that allure, isn't there, of richness and people living these amazing lives. And for me, this shadow,
I love that shadow. I love
is the sort of secret and lies bit, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And that's yours is quite an unusual cover. I haven't seen many like yours, like the particular cover for The Rich in the stores. I think it stands out, which is excellent.
Yeah, and I think that the colour helps as well, doesn't it? And the size of the title.
Yes, yeah. You don't see too many greens, do you?
No.
It's really standout cover.
So we went, Samantha. Hi, Samantha. Hi, Sarah. Oh, lovely. Hello. Oh,
Sarah.
That's a good question already, Jeanette, for you. Did you plan to write books set in exotic locations for the research?
Yes, constantly on my mind. I love that question. Yeah, the richer I go, yes, I need to go there and research it. I mean, The Crew is actually set in the Greek islands, which I have been to quite a few times, which helps. It helps. Some of my novels, for example, my first one was set in the Ukraine, and I haven't been there, although I did get an invitation to go, which is kind of not possible really at the moment. I should have taken up on it when the offer came out, but yeah, that's a good question. I like that one.
So when you were writing The Crew, then did you pull on all of your holidays?
Yeah, on my memories. I mean, for those who have read The Crew, they'll know that I based it very much on the Bravo TV show Below Deck. Have we got any Below Deck fans? Comment if you are. Give us a shout out. I decided, I mean, that particular TV show goes everywhere, but I decided to set it in Greece because I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
What about you for The Rich?
Well, I mean, it's not. It looks, the cover looks. It's very similar to yours, isn't it? And it looks as though it's in an exotic location, and I think that's part of the draw. And you're talking about people who spend a lot of time in exotic locations, but it's set in Cambridge.
Yes, exactly.
And I wanted to set it somewhere that would have a concentration of very wealthy people.
Yeah,
and that was the closest to me. So I know Cambridge really well. But however, I did write a book that came out last year called The Line, and that was set in Cyprus.
Nice. And do you know Cyprus?
Well, we know it really well because we used to live there because my husband was in the army. So I was pulling on that experience, but I did do a research trip as well with the family to check out, my locations, because we lived there about 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But I definitely think there is an allure to these settings, and there seems to be that seems to be quite popular at the moment, doesn't it?
Yep,
The
definitely.
excursions and trips
Yes,
and the
yeah,
sea and
destination fiction
yeah,
is and I
definitely.
love to read that myself as well as
Yeah,
writing.
yeah, me
Yeah.
too, definitely.
Mm.
So, Sarah has asked, how do you come up with ideas for your books? That's a really good one, isn't
Oh,
it?
that's a good question. I mean, as we just said with The Crew, it was throughout lockdown when I watched Below Deck all 15 seasons. That was my research, and that's nice research.
Yeah,
I didn't
absolutely.
even plan to, but at the end of it, I thought, do you know, I know so much about the workings of super yachts now. I can write a book based on it.
I thought you were a sailor.
Did you?
Yes.
Brilliant. See,
Wow.
television watching isn't bad for you. It's good
You don't
for you.
sail at all. That's
No.
amazing. I've got quite a few sailing friends, and I'm going to give that. Yeah, I'm going to give them your book
Oh, brilliant.
because when I read it, because I've
Yeah.
been on a few yachts myself.
Have you been
Not
on super yachts?
no,
Good.
no,
I've been
and
on
I
some
I
yachts.
can't sail, but
Right.
I've been on as a guest and everything. So I was so convinced that you were you'd been part of a crew at some point in your life.
Oh, fantastic. That's a huge
That's
compliment.
amazing.
Oh,
My reason for writing The Rich is much darker.
right.
I think it was lockdown as well that
Yeah.
just got me thinking about how isolated everybody was, and then
Yeah.
that took me on to the psychological path, and created my character Alex,
Yes.
and
Brilliant
then
character.
I just sort of played with that idea and thought, what if this person who was privy to all of these secrets and trauma actually started to manipulate that
Mm.
situation. And
It
so
was
that's,
cleverly written.
oh, thank you.
And I didn't get, I think sometimes as writers we see twists and reveals coming, and I didn't, which is always
Ah,
brilliant. That's always
brilliant.
nice when that happens.
Well, it's been on Tandem Collective this week on Instagram,
Right.
and the reviews have been brilliant, and most of them have said, a few saw it coming, but most of them have said that they were absolutely blown away by the twist at the end. So
Yeah.
that was my that was my hope. So that's absolutely brilliant. I'm absolutely thrilled with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's an achievement if you can keep that back and have someone be surprised. That's the biggest compliment, isn't it? Oh, that's a
yeah,
job well done.
because it's hard though, isn't it?
I
That's the
know.
hardest thing. Because do you find I find that as I get towards the end of the book and I know how I want it to end, I
Mhm.
find it more and more difficult to prevent that reveal coming out early.
Yes, yeah, it
Yeah.
is really difficult. In the one I've just edited, just before I sent it off, I saw a little collection of things, and they could all be reveals and twists, and I'd given them away. And I'm like, "Oh, delete
Ah.
it, take it back." What have
So
we got going here?
Sarah said, throughout lockdown, I watched true crime documentaries.
I think a
There was
lot
some,
of people
yeah,
got into true. We all
definitely.
changed in lockdown, didn't we? We all got into things that we maybe never would have.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
I
was
think I did read a couple of months ago that if you need to be worried if you watch true crime to relax because it says something about your psyche, and I instantly thought, oh dear, because if I've been writing all day or editing or researching to unwind, I often do watch true crime, and
yes,
I've got a lot of my ideas from it as well
yes, yeah.
because I do believe that nothing is stranger than true life.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it always blows me away what real people get up to.
Yeah, that's right. Seemingly normal people going about their daily lives. It does. It all goes back to the secrets and lies they hold, don't
Yeah,
it?
Yeah.
And everyone's got them, some to more extremes than others.
And I think that every good thriller has to have secrets and lies, doesn't it?
Yes.
Because it's about the way that people lie and deceive everybody around them.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, you're absolutely correct. Yeah. Oh,
What do you do for your launch events? I've just read the one under that. We'll do that in a minute.
I say, I'm just going to go for Sarah's question first. What would Google say about your research? and I think that I can type into Google anything, and the police come to my door, and I'm like, it's okay. I'm a writer, and I think there might be a book idea in there as well.
Yeah. What do you think is the weirdest thing you've Googled?
Well, don't know. Let's see what I've got in my recent Google search. Have you got yours with you?
I didn't think about that. I'm just thinking about one that I wrote, one of the Kelly Porter books. There was a girl who was found in a forest, and it had been snowing, so her body was frozen. So I Googled how to defrost a body.
Brilliant. I've got that on bookmarked, the stages of decomposition.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
So helpful.
Do you know, if somebody actually rummaged around my desk, they would find bits and pieces like that. You know, bloat.
Writer's test.
You know, yeah, absolutely.
So we missed a question. What did you do for your launch event?
Well, mine are normally online. I mean, I don't think I've ever had a bookshop launch. We were thinking about having one for the rich, but the problem with a November publication date is you're competing with all the Christmas trade.
No one wants to go out at night.
No. And I also think that COVID changed that as well.
Yeah, I think
because a lot of launches are online now.
Yeah,
aren't they?
They really are. Yeah. I usually have go out for a meal with my family. This year for the crew, I had a lovely meal in London with my editor and my agent, and it was nice. It was a really nice change.
Yeah, I saw pictures of that.
Yeah, it was good fun. It was lovely. But I've only ever had one bookshop launch. That was for my very first book. So that was, 8 books ago.
But so what year was that then?
That was 2016.
So so well before COVID then.
Yes, yeah.
Because I think it's transformed the industry, hasn't it? Would you say that?
Yeah, definitely. I think COVID got a lot more people into reading. They got into watching things, as we talked about earlier, that they maybe wouldn't have watched before. They got into baking banana bread and reading books.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's slowed down the reading. It's really nice that it has transformed people into sticking with it.
Yeah. And it's also created a community of authors that are doing well on Kindle and digital and audio, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Especially audio. I think the audio books have realized a whole new community of readers. Definitely. Yeah. Do you listen to audio? What's your favorite read? Paperback, Kindle, or audio?
Do you know what? I don't really mind. I love having a physical paperback. I don't get on very well with hardbacks because they're so big and clumsy.
Yes.
So I love a good paperback. But equally, I also love Kindle because it doesn't matter where I am. If I forget the book, I can just pick up my phone. So if I'm on a train, or in bed, at night, I quite like reading just before I go to sleep because I don't really get a lot of time to read during the day.
Mm.
And so what, are you in between books, or are you reading something at the moment?
I'm reading, it's called The Six at the moment. I've got this one. I mainly read on Kindle, but I'm actually saving this for Christmas week. I'm going to time it so I get a good Christmas reading, and that's probably one of the only.
Is it a thriller?
Yes, yeah, that's
right.
Susie Holidays.
Right.
I picked it up at a bookshop last week when I went to sign some of my own books, and I'm going to time it for the Christmas week. I think it'd be really nice to have a little Christmas read.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you reading at the moment?
Well, I've just got a proof of Alex Kane's Two Sisters.
Lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the Janey series. It's number 10. Now, I've never read any of the Janey series.
Number 10. Wow.
Yeah. But I'm really looking forward to it because I know her books can be read as standalones. And I know the backstory.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's giving me the cover and the blurb and the hype around it is giving me Martina Cole vibes.
Lovely.
So yeah, so I'm really looking forward to reading that.
I'm always quite envious of people who write so many standalones, and yet they can be series, but they can be read as a standalone. I think that takes quite a skill just to slip in enough of the backstory. I don't know if I have skill for that, but some people do it really well.
It's a really fine balance, definitely, and you've got to remember. I mean, I'm just editing number 12 in the Kelly series that's coming out in May.
Yeah.
And I've got to keep on top, of where all the character stories are.
Yes.
Plus introduce new ones for new readers as well.
Yeah.
But I've just seen a really good question. Oh. Can you introduce us to the main characters in The Rich and the Crew?
Oh, that is a great question.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
It's not that one.
I'll introduce you to these characters. Too many blue books. Yeah, so we've got Ella. She's the chief stew on my super yacht, which is called an Anki. She goes back every year as chief stew as part of a select crew, and it's basically her family. Then this year she's got to find a new crew member because last year one of her deckhands died in a seemingly tragic accident. That was Ashley. So she finds some things out that make her believe that it wasn't really possibly an accident. And I'll leave it there so there's no more spoilers.
But I was going to say, I don't want to give away a spoiler, but one of your characters, how can I say this? Yeah, it was a banger of a twist.
Oh,
because you showed the same character but in two different ways.
Yes, yeah.
So without giving anything away, I really loved that.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
So the Rich is the main character, the one whose point of view is told in first person is Dr. Alex Moore, and she's a psychologist based in Cambridge, and it's a private practice, and she makes a lot of money from treating a lot of wealthy clients. Her husband Jeremy is also, all the other characters are written in third person. So really the meat of the story is written through Alex's eyes. And you've got a husband who is a barely functioning alcoholic. And I wanted to show that even a psychologist, just because she's a psychologist doesn't mean that she's got her life together. She's got a lot of things going on in her personal life as well. She's got 3 children. The middle one is bulimic, and the youngest one is being bullied. They're all quite common problems in the modern world. And I wanted I wanted her not to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I wanted her to have her own struggles, because at the end of the day, you know, she's a human being as well.
Ferrets have issues too.
Of course, they're not machines.
Mm.
And then you have her clients. And so we've got Henry, who is he's got his own building business. And, you know, that sort of industry around the Cambridge area, again, it stands to reason that he would do well out of that sort of trade. And then you've got Carrie, who works in the city, and Grace, who is a personal trainer, but it transpires that actually, you know, her parents are extremely wealthy. So, and these characters all have their issues, and of course they're Alex's clients. And then one of her personal friends, Tony, who also works in the city, his wife goes missing. And so Alex has got connections to all of these people. She knew Tony's wife very well, Monica, but then it transpires that, and Cambridge is a very small place, and then it transpires that, you know, a lot of these characters actually know one another and knew Monica as well. So it's a whodunit.
Yeah, brilliant cast of characters. I loved their world. I loved the world you created.
Oh, thank
It
you.
was fabulously messed up.
Yeah. And I did worry that there would be not enough people to like, or not enough parts of the people to like. And actually, a lot of the reviews have said, I didn't like anybody.
Yeah,
But
it's a big thing in reviews, isn't it?
Yeah. But that didn't take away from their enjoyment of it, because what people have said, if they didn't like any of the characters, and actually the most popular character was either Carrie or Alex, because I had fun with Carrie, because she's quite ballsy, but apparently it hasn't taken away from the quality of the book, because that's the whole point of it.
Exactly, it really is.
Is that they're deliciously awful.
That's right. And my friend Jamie Verzi read it last week, and he said almost exactly that. He didn't really like anyone, but he enjoyed the book.
Good. That's awesome. I can't ask for any more than that.
No, exactly. That's all you want.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what? Have you read The Killer's Christmas List by Chris Frost? No, I haven't. Set in Gateshead. That's another one for my list.
Oh, yes, yeah. So happy to hear more Kelly Porter is on the way. So this will be book number 12, will it?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm just editing that at the moment. So that'll be out in May.
Excellent.
So it's called Shared Remains.
Right.
And this one is set in a nursing home in the Lakes.
Right.
Yeah. And also Sarah just commented, I love how the characters in The Rich became a focal point in the book through their interactions. Yeah. And I think that's important, isn't it? And you did that in The Crew so well, because it was your dialogue between the characters, and often it was just two of them alone.
Yes.
That brought the story on.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that focal point is kind of the main feature, really. It's a family, even though they're not bound by blood, much like your guys in The Rich. It's that sort of community. Sorry, I'm just my dog is squeaking. I'm just going to give him his bone.
Did you say polo mints?
A bone.
I thought you said, I'm just going to give him his polo mints.
And I wasn't sure if everyone could hear him squeaking down there on the rug. So.
Oh, no, I didn't hear a thing.
Yeah, he's happy now.
There's a question up there which says, how do you feel about including COVID in your fiction? That's a really good question, isn't it?
It is. And The Crew was the first time I did refer to COVID. And I think there's enough time gone past to mention it, because some people, when we were going through it, people I don't think wanted to read about COVID today because we were in it. So Yeah, it was, and it was very, it was kind of in the background of the crew. COVID was mentioned,
Mm,
and I'm
yeah.
not sure. Have you mentioned it?
No, I never have, and just because I think I totally agree with you. I think now I probably would, because
Mm,
we're through it, and we're back to,
mm,
you know, the normal that almost we started at. So I
yeah.
think references to it would be absolutely fine,
Mm,
and during it I didn't want to.
mm,
Because absolutely, like you say, it was just too depressing. Reading's all about escaping, isn't it, and going to somewhere different,
yeah.
rather than, you know, reading about all of that doom and gloom. But
Mhm.
now I think I would.
Yeah.
And yeah, do you
And
know, another question that I was talking about recently was AI.
oh,
Yeah, I'm quite tempted to bring some AI in, and the reason I mention that is because that the COVID thing is that it, because that used to be sci-fi.
well,
You
yes,
know,
yeah.
the big pandemic used to be sci-fi, but it's not anymore.
No,
And
it was
AI used to be sci-fi, but it's not anymore. You could have an
no.
AI thriller,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that
it could be present day.
yes. Yeah, that's good. You should get right on that, because I don't think there's too much of that around yet. So
Oh damn! I've just given it away.
I just
Oh,
want to make a note
somebody's
in
just
my
said,
notebook.
please show the pop. Please show the
Oh,
pop.
bless you. He's there. He's very happy with his bone now. He's got
Oh,
half of it left. So oh dear. He just had a little to do because there was some fireworks going off, but he's recovered now, so we're fine.
oh, bless him. Poppy was an absolute wreck during the fireworks, and she is every year. And there's nothing we can do about it. We just got to let her shake.
Yeah, and it's so hard, isn't it? And they
Yeah,
don't understand, why would they understand? And I
no,
think it would be a lot easier if it was just one night, but it
I
kind of
know it goes on, doesn't it?
went on. Yeah,
Yeah.
bless their little heart.
There's a question about, do you have a favourite author, and the one you have to buy immediately? I mean, I don't. I just love reading new stuff. I mean, some standouts to me recently. I read Morgan Green's new one. Oh my god, the name's just gone out of my head. Oh, Ridge, something Ridge,
Right.
and also Max Luther, Nowhere to Hide.
Oh, right, yes.
And I flip between, because Max Luther's is like, you know, in your face
Yeah.
action, 110 miles an hour.
Mhm.
And then Morgan Green's is a lot more measured, set in the USA. So
Quite a contrast.
I just love reading. I don't think I've got a favourite. Do you?
No, I mean, I've recently discovered, well, not recently, but over this last year, I've loved every single Gillian McAllister book that I've read.
Oh,
So to the point where I'm quite envious of,
that's
her.
always a good benchmark, isn't it? If you'd close the book and you think, "Damn, I wish I'd written that."
I mean, some of the stories are quite the storylines are quite simple, but there's so much depth, and yeah, I'm definitely jealous. And I think now that's an author that I will just buy without even reading the blurb.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I did love Strange Sally Diamond. That was a favorite of this year as well. Yeah, but like you, I will read anything.
Yeah.
Do you read non-crime fiction? Do you read other genres as well?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of crime fiction because I've had a lot of proofs to read.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I love everything. And I read nonfiction as well.
Mm,
Used to be a history teacher, so I love reading history books and historical autobiographies and things like that.
mm,
So I love Anthony Beaver. You know,
mhm.
he wrote Stalingrad and Berlin and things like that. And I love reading autobiographies on, you know, like the new Napoleon film fascinates me because
Yeah, that
You know,
looks
the big,
good.
it does look amazing, but it's very historically inaccurate in a lot of ways.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, there's a
I
few
don't
things
know.
that don't add
Um,
up. But the thing is that sometimes you've got to take artistic license on that. I mean, if you look at you know, Braveheart, for
mm,
example,
mm,
you know, a lot of that was absolutely rubbish,
mm.
historically, but amazing film. And
Yeah.
you know, I've watched it about 5 times and absolutely love it. And I think sometimes you've got to let the art do the work.
Mm,
And I
yeah.
will go and see Napoleon,
Mm. I
because
think
I love
we had a
Jack.
cinema question, actually. Did I see a cinema question? We might have to. Oh, look, it's fun question to you both. What have you seen at the cinema?
Ah, oh my goodness, it's so long since I
Me
think that I
too.
think the last time I went to the cinema, because again we got out of habit in COVID. I think the last time I went was to watch Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, okay. The last time I went was Where the Crawdads Sing, because it was
Oh,
such a beautiful book.
yeah.
And then before that, I think it might have been The Exorcist's 25th anniversary, and it's just had another big anniversary. So
So was that the original revamped or was it a new one?
I think it was digitally remastered.
Oh, okay. I do
So
like a good horror.
yes, me too. But not when you have to walk through the cinema car park in the dark. It really
No,
frightened me.
no, that's true. I was talking about horror to the Canelo lot the other day, and we were talking about our favourite horror writers that got us started on horror. And
Yes.
I don't know about you, but I go back to Dennis Wheatley. I used to read Dennis Wheatley, um,
Right.
and then Ray Russell.
Yeah.
You know, real gory stuff and
Yeah.
occult stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
Have
so,
Have you read Tender is the Flesh?
oh no, who's that
Oh,
by?
it's I believe he's a Portuguese writer. I think he's only written that one book, and it will
I'm gonna
stay
write
with
that
you
down.
forever. It's
Oh,
horrifically brilliant and
oh.
very traumatizing. It's just what you want from a horror.
Yeah, I'll read that late at night when I'm on my own in the house, I think. It sounds like one of those.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, read of the year, Jeanette. What are your reads of the year? Gosh, that's really hard.
I mentioned Gillian McAllister before, and I think Wrong Place, Wrong Time might be in my read of the year.
Oh, okay. Is that the one that's written a bit like an escape room?
It's kind of a Groundhog Day thing,
Right.
and it's so I'm just in awe of. I just imagine that she had a whole wall of post-it notes to keep herself in track. I can't even
Yeah.
imagine doing that.
Do you
Uh,
ever do that though? Do you have like post-it notes and things like that?
I have notebooks.
Yeah.
I've actually got them all here,
Yeah.
and then this one, and there's a little pile of paper over there. And I was like, why can't you just keep everything in one place or one book? But
Yeah, yeah, I'm like that. I've got piles of stuff, but
yeah,
but they're in the right pile.
yes, that's all that matters.
And I've got some flashcards because I thought
Oh,
so.
excellent.
I thought I did have a little bit of a brainwave. I thought because um, Kelly 12 is quite complex,
Right.
and I was getting a little bit you know, getting a bit wrapped up in, kept forgetting. So, oh my God, you know, do they know that? And of course, when it's a police investigation, because you started off with police procedurals, didn't you?
I did,
And
and it's
it
so
gets so
difficult.
complicated,
Mm,
and you don't want to give too much away too early. So
yeah.
I thought, you know, I would use. I mean, I've used all sorts of things. I used to use a big roll of paper so I could see it all. I know, really old school. I don't do any of this digitally because I wouldn't know how to. And then flashcards, and also, you know, and interesting. One of the last times we spoke, you were talking about you write your character streams, regardless of what chapter they're in. You
Yes.
concentrate on your character's arc, and I thought that was
Yeah.
fascinating.
That's what I'm going from at the moment. And and then I delete it when I get a certain amount of the way through. So this whole page is nearly done.
Okay.
I'm finding that quite easy, but it changes so much. So I have to type a new one like every week.
Yeah.
But I do love hearing every author's way, their own methods, color coded post-it notes and everything. I find it really fascinating.
The process, my process has changed a lot as well. I mean, it used to be, because it used to be sort of sit down and write it, see what happens. And I think probably because I've written so many Kellys, I can't do that anymore. I've got to be a bit more formulaic.
You've got to hold a lot of old knowledge in your head for your characters.
I do have like a document that is like a character précis. There's a little biography on each character that runs through all of the books and what year they did certain things, and
that's good. That's
that sort of thing.
I
have to do that. I should have brought Poppy in so I
you
could hold up her as well, but I didn't. AI.
Sarah, you've read Tender is the Flesh.
That's Augustina Bazterrica.
Yes, I recommend that to all of you watching tonight. It's just to scare you all witless.
And would you say it's pure horror genre?
It's actually dystopian. I think it's in the dystopian categories. Right. But it's horrific.
Good. It'll take me back. Yeah, I've read quite a bit of horror. But then at the same time I was reading Dennis Wheatley and Roy Russell, I was reading Danielle Steele, and Virginia Andrews.
Yes.
So very.
I think that's what people of our age were. We cut our teeth on Danielle Steele and Virginia Andrews and Jackie Collins.
And Jackie Collins. Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes I just recently downloaded all of The Flowers in the Attic on my Kindle, and it's so nostalgic and wonderful. I love it.
And it's been televised as well, hasn't it?
Yes, I watched those recently. I think it was either on Paramount or something, and it was it's a great story.
Yeah.
It's great,
it's so clever.
You can't.
Oh, look. When the Netflix adaptations are made of your books, which character will you play?
That's a really good question.
That's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Well, I think 10 years ago I would have played Kelly.
Yeah. When you're writing, do you have people in mind for your characters of either an actor you are aware of or a person, just to give them those features?
No, I kind of make their faces up in my head. There must be amalgams of something.
Yeah.
And I only thought of actresses to play Kelly in the last couple of years.
And who did you pick then?
Well,
who is on your list?
I always fancied Charlotte Riley, Tom Hardy's wife, but I think she's sort of semi-retired because of her babbies.
Oh, right.
But she always struck me as a good Kelly. And then somebody like, Joe Froggatt, maybe, somebody like that, who I think, because actresses are always looking to not be typecast, and I think I'd love to see somebody who perhaps doesn't take a risky role, take a risk.
Yes.
And I mean, I've no idea what attracts actresses to detective series, but I know that they need to be careful what they choose, don't they? Because they could get trapped in that series.
Yeah.
And that genre. What about you?
I don't often have people in mind like you. It's not an actual person, except for one book I'm writing now, and it is someone who's on Below Deck, because I need a really specific kind of personality, and I'm just keeping her in my mind as I'm writing
Yeah.
character.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
it's maybe borrowing a person's traits more than their features or
yeah.
forms.
Yeah. But it's also equally hard to keep people out your head, isn't it?
Mm.
Because if you're writing, you know, let's say a very powerful patriarch, you know, with lots of money, instantly you would think of, you know, like Succession or, you know, that sort of thing. And so
Yeah.
it's equally hard, especially if you watch a lot of TV, like, you know, I think we do. And I love crime and I love thrillers. And
Yeah.
there's just so much good stuff on
There
Netflix and things
really
like
is.
that. I think
Yeah.
it's quite hard to keep faces out of your head, but that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. No, you're right there, definitely.
You've got to have some visual, haven't you?
Yes, something
Yeah.
to have it take shape, to
Yeah.
translate it onto the page. Absolutely.
Because you've got to believe in them, haven't you? You've
Yes.
got
Oh,
to.
yeah.
I find I've got to get to know my characters, and it might
Ye
not happen until I've finished,
yes. Yeah.
and in
And
the
then you can
process of
revise. Yeah.
writing. But I think you've got to make friends with them, haven't you?
You have.
Or enemies.
And that's quite interesting because when all this AI stuff sort of exploded, I got it to, just out of interest, write a synopsis for a crime thriller, and it worked. It was a perfectly usable plot line, but I didn't know these characters.
Yeah.
I had no connection to them,
Yeah.
and I thought, yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
It's they're just
I have to do some of the work first before I
yes,
can tell
they have to
somebody.
grow, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so if a publisher or my agent said to me, right, you know, ping me over a synopsis of the next one, I
Mm,
find it really hard because I've got to sort of get into it first before I
absolutely.
can do
They've
that.
sit with you for a little while and
Yeah,
become an actual person.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
how
I totally agree.
they are.
Oh, how do you decide where to go with the plot? Oh, and Sarah said Jodie Whittaker. Yeah,
Oh,
obviously.
Judy's fabulous.
Because she'd be an amazing. Because she's just. Did you watch the latest series of Time?
No, I haven't. Should I?
Oh, yeah,
I will
yeah.
I will put it
She
on.
is
She is really
amazing, and that's
mm,
a really good example of an actress taking a risk
yeah.
because she's been so well loved, hasn't she, in her
Yes.
roles? And
Yeah.
this one is gritty. She is fragile. She's vulnerable. She makes
Oh,
mistakes,
wow.
and she's Northern,
Yeah.
which you know should be a perfect Kelly.
Mm,
So yeah, I thoroughly recommend that.
yeah. I will
It's
put that on my
brilliant. Yeah. So how do you decide where to go with the plot?
well, do you know, sometimes for me, I had the book that I've just delivered, and which is actually due out in April or May next year. And sometimes it's the editor who can just make a random comment that can change everything. Because my editor on this next book that's coming out, she said, "Yeah, this Rob, I think you could kill him." So, and then it's just a comment, but it started the thought process, made me look at the work a little bit closer, and I'm thinking, yeah, he's a spare part. So
Yeah,
sometimes where you go with the plot, where it ends up isn't where you intended it to.
yeah,
But that is the beauty of a writing journey, I think. Do you
yeah,
agree?
yeah, definitely. I keep an open mind. I think it's got to be
Mm.
fluid. And some things, like there was a twist at the end of Kelly 11,
Mm.
which wasn't expected, which is a bit of a shock for people who follow the series.
Yeah.
But I decided to stick with it, and it just struck me in one of the last scenes.
Mm.
Um, and it just fitted, and I was a bit nervous about it,
Yeah.
but it worked, and I think it was important to put in. So yeah, I always keep an open mind,
Yeah,
and
it's got to be a bit like life. You can plan it all you want, but sometimes
yeah,
things just organically happen, and that I think
definitely.
same for the books as
And
well.
And also, I think if I was to plan too much, if I spent so much time planning before I actually sat down to write anything, things change so much once they hit the page.
They really do.
That I think I'd get frustrated at how much time I'd wasted.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I quite like, sort of doing it organically and seeing what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
There's on that point, have you ever acted out a scene as you write it?
Oh, that's.
I have it in my head.
Oh, I totally misunderstood that. I was going to spill some real secrets then.
Did you run a bath and get in the bath when you're writing the crew?
Oh dear, I don't know. Yeah, I'm glad you reread that.
I don't think it's literal. No, I think it's in your head. Yeah, I think it's in your head. Is it? Well, if you've acted it out in reality, now you've got to tell us.
Oh dear. No, I listen to people, to a lot of my friends, and I think they're confessing something, and I think, you're not going to read my book, so I'm going to put that in there.
I do pick up lines, and sometimes it's what the kids say as well.
Yes, so
little lines, little nuggets, and I think, right, that's going in my next book.
Yes, I've got one of my books, The Life She Wants. There's a pervert in it.
Oh, right, okay. And is it somebody you know? I love that.
Oh dear.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to read that now.
And he buys my books for his wife, so. But I've been assured he doesn't read them, so.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Those are but sometimes things you hear or observe are, they're so juicy, you have to use them, right?
And just people watching or overhearing conversations, thinking, oh, that's so juicy, I'm going to put that in.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Have you ever given a character at the start of a book series a quirk or a trait that you later regretted? Perversion, maybe.
That's an interesting.
A quirk or a trait?
I
don't think I have.
No, I don't think so far. I'm going to really think about that.
Because if it irritated me, I'd cut it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I can have horrible characters. I can't have characters who irritate me.
No.
They've got to have something redeeming.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Else I think I'd get bored or irritated with them.
Yeah. And people do have quirks or traits, don't they, in everyday life as well? But that's a good question. I've been asked that one before.
Yeah. Some of our authors act out in reality. We've had some wild answers to that question. Yeah. I'm just thinking about which scenes. Mind you, I've got to say that a lot of the in a lot of Achilles, there's probably once or twice or possibly even 3 times in some of the books there is a hike, because she will take herself off, or she'll go with her family, or she'll go with her boyfriend, or actually they'll be chasing suspects. So and that will be from memory, something I've done. It will be a genuine path or route up a mountain or route across a lake or swim or something that I have done. And then when I'm writing it, I'm absolutely 100% there.
Yes.
And then when I've taken the kids, yeah, absolutely. Did you do that with Grease? Because there's the thing with the crew. and this was the same with the line as well, is you can smell the heat.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
you can feel the sunshine, and
Yes. And it
you
always smells like coconuts and
yeah,
summer, doesn't it? So
yeah,
it is drawing on those feelings, all those journeys or the paths or the hikes
yeah,
that we've taken. And that's how I think it can be real. And that's when real life is really useful in fiction.
yeah,
So when you know it's real.
yeah, yeah. And you just draw on that broad experience, don't you?
Yes, definitely. But I've
Uh,
got a question for you before we run out of time, because we were talking about research and I said research is one of my favorite topics.
yeah.
And you said autopsies. And then you said nothing more. So I need to know about that now.
So I absolutely adore forensics, and that's what led to the creation of my pathologist Ted.
Right.
And the research for him has been absolutely fascinating. Now, I watched an autopsy online. Now, when I say I watched an autopsy online, you couldn't see anything,
Right.
right? So the pathologist was head and shoulders like this,
Yeah.
and he was gloved up,
Yeah.
and he was performing the autopsy, perfectly legal. You know, you can. It's on a legal site and everything, and he's performing it and he's talking you through it, but you can't see
Oh,
the
right.
body.
Would
He's
you have
talking you
liked
through
to have
it.
seen? Would you have been okay?
No,
Oh, right.
no, that would make me uncomfortable. I'd like to see one in person. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to watch one online, because
Right.
that would make me feel a little bit voyeuristic,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
But I'd really love to visit a mortuary, and I got so close before COVID as well. I met a mortuary technician,
Mhm.
and actually they do a lot of the work. You know,
Right.
you see on TV, it's always the pathologist, and
Yeah.
it's not like that at all. A lot of the technicians do a lot of the work. They do a
Yeah.
lot of the cutting. They do a lot of the gathering of the organs. They do all the cleaning up. So
Right.
there's loads of technicians there doing all this work that you never see on these dramas.
Mm.
And he was going to take me in, but then COVID hit.
Mm.
So I need to get back in touch, because I think because I'm not particularly squeamish like that.
No.
So, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
you need to get back on
absolutely
that then.
love, and
Definitely.
I'd love to write a series on a pathologist.
Mhm.
You need to tell me about this research that you did with you interviewed an IRA person. What was that all about?
That was actually for my second book, which is The Hunger Within, and it is based in 1980s Northern Ireland,
Wow, I
around
need to
the hunger.
read that one as well.
Yeah, I loved writing that. That was based around the hunger strikers,
Yes.
and when I was writing it, I thought it wasn't that long ago. There must be some who lived and who are still living, and I found one, and Lawrence McCowan, and oh, it's so interesting. He sent me voice notes every few days about his experiences and sent me his books.
Wow.
He's got his own theatre now. He's totally changed, in his own words, from the boy he was to the man he is now.
Gosh.
Yeah, that, and talking about research, that was one of my most. It was quite emotional actually, because
Yeah.
it pulled me into his journey. So that was
Yeah.
really nice. Yeah.
I do love interviewing people. I interview a lot of police for the Kelly Porter series. And one of the most interesting interviews I did was for number 9, Lying Ways.
Yeah.
It's set in a prison, or
Mhm.
part of the action is in a prison. And I interviewed several prisoners, and one of them was a category A prisoner
Right.
who answered a lot of my questions on. I wanted, because when I interview somebody, and I'm sure you're the same, it's not, you're not after their secrets.
Mm.
You know, it's a flavor, isn't it?
Yeah.
you
Yes.
you want
Exactly
you
that.
want to get you almost want to get under their skin and try and imagine what it's like.
Mhm.
And just what he told me about you know, smuggling drugs by drone, you know,
Oh, wow.
smashing the window
Yeah.
of your cell so the drone can, deliver the drugs, or getting drugs sprayed onto solicitors' letters and having those sent to you. And the really scary details, like there's no CCTV in the showers, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
What you can make weapons from, and what really goes on, and what the food's like, and things like that. And I just love it. So I always try and interview, if there's a specialism in one of my books, I always try and get hold of somebody. It sounds like you're exactly the same. You do that as well.
Yeah, and I find it so interesting. And and it's a real honor when they let you in that way.
It is, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
What other questions have we got?
Forensics.
Oh, it's moving quite fast, isn't it?
I think we're quite running out of time a bit, aren't we? Just one that you sent me, Jeanette, which has a quick answer actually, which really I thought was a brilliant question, was, does writing energize or exhaust you?
Oh yes. What does it do for you? Or does
it energizes me?
Yeah.
I do.
On how, if the writing is going good and it's flowing, it's wonderful. But yeah, if so, you find it energizing.
Yeah,
I thought that was a really interesting question.
I think I could have answered the opposite and said, "Oh no, it exhausts me." But then, if I pick it apart, I think it's the thinking about it that is exhausting. The actual writing of it, I find it really gives me a boost. And if I don't do it, then it's a bit like, if I don't walk the dog, or if I don't go to the gym. I think it lifts my mood that I've actually done some work. Yes. And I feel as though I've made progress.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good way of putting it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've ever felt exhausted by writing. I think some days I've written so much that I think, oh, I'll sleep well tonight. And that's a good feeling. It is like a hike or a really, a good gym session or something.
Yeah.
It's a good tired feeling.
I've got to say, I sent a new manuscript to Canelo last week, the one that I've been working on. I wanted to get it done before Christmas. And the night that I finished it, I was cross-eyed. I was I couldn't speak. I think my husband actually asked me a question. I just turned to him and I said, "Look, I just can't do this right now."
And you had
worked really hard on it.
And that's a really good feeling of exhaustion when you know you've done something worthwhile and you've worked really hard.
And I did sleep. I did sleep really, really well. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
This hour has flown, hasn't it? So 3 minutes left. Remind us what everyone's going to go and buy. So The Rich.
Oh, okay. Yes.
It was published last Thursday, and it's available everywhere. So digitally, apart from audio, actually, audio's not done yet. So The Rich, go and buy it.
And it is available everywhere, because I saw your pictures of you signing what looks like 100,000 copies. You must have writer's cramp today.
Honestly, my wrist was dropping off.
Oh, really?
Have you got a copy of The Crew there, Jeanette?
Yes. Yeah, this is The Crew. It's out on October 19th. It's also available on ebooks and paperback. So yes, go and buy it.
I love that book, and I love the cover.
Thank you.
They're both really striking, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they really did a lovely standout job on that.
Oh, it's been so nice to talk to you. I wish we were in person.
I know.
We could go out for a nice meal.
Yes, yeah, we will definitely do that in 2024. Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you write over the holidays? Will you write at Christmas, do you think?
Yes. Yeah. Do you?
I just every day is just another day to me, really. And I just write when I fancy it. If I don't write, then I get a bit antsy. So you know,
Yeah.
most days I'll either be doing research or editing or actual writing.
Yeah. And
Something.
even on the very rare days when we're not doing that, we're still thinking, aren't
Yeah.
we?
Yeah.
It's
And listening to perverts.
and getting our story ideas. Oh my goodness.
Oh, Fran's just come on. Sorry, I'm late.
No, yeah.
Fran, you've missed it. You're gonna have to watch it on record.
Oh, Fran, we love you.
We've had such a laugh, Fran. You're gonna have to watch it back.
Watch it
Yeah,
back.
Sarah. Yeah, we're both going to Harrogate.
Oh, yes. Will you be there, Sarah?
Yeah.
It'd be really nice to catch up.
Yeah.
Harrogate is my most favourite time of the calendar year.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
brilliant. So
And
yeah,
and you've booked, have you?
I have,
Yeah.
yes.
Awesome.
You?
Yeah. 3 nights again.
Excellent. Yeah, same with me. I'm so eager. I've actually got 2 hotels booked at the moment. So,
Oh, so were you going to decide nearer the time?
yeah, just to make sure I don't miss out.
You're so greedy.
I'll sell one to the highest bidder. Oh dear. It was, and thank you everyone for
Yeah, thank you.
your
Brilliant
questions.
questions.
They were really good, weren't they? It was lovely.
Yeah, really awesome questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.